Okay, welcome. This is Fireside Chat Friday. I almost said firesider. Dr. Dina brought some firesider, some healthy drink for us. Thank you for watching. If you're on here and watching the recording, this is the GOL Network Fireside Chats. This is our business development, where we bring experts in the field of business support, such as marketing, tax, business strategy. And today we have Jason McKenzie with Boise Web. And I'm going to go ahead and introduce him in just a second, but we really focus on finding the potholes in your business and being able to fill in those gaps so you can do what you do best. So we're going to get started, and with our fireside chat, it is an open table, you guys. So this is about sitting around our virtual fire and being able to have a conversation. And so this is going to be led by Jason, but we really like to focus on education and empowering and enlightening. And these have always been fabulous. So I'm going to hand it over to you and let you start your introduction. So thank you again for being here.
Fantastic. Thank you. I'm excited to be here. And today we're going back to school, so to speak. I've got a little workbook for everyone that's present. So if we'll just pass those around for everyone, please take one. And we're just going to work right through this. Today, we're going to be talking about attracting your ideal client like a magnet. And this works both on the internet and off the internet. So when everybody get a copy? Excellent. No. So if everyone could jump right in, one of the things that is most challenging for a small business owner is once they get into the business, it can be really difficult to separate being in the business and working on the business. And so this is a moment where we're taking that step back to breathe and to look at the business from a 40,000-foot view and say, what is it that this business is trying to accomplish? What am I trying to accomplish? Why am I doing this? And so for our first activity, what I would really love is for everyone to just take a moment and write one specific goal you want to achieve by the end of the year. And it's best for this scenario if that goal has something to do with marketing or attracting new customers or something in your sales process, but it could be some other goal as well, if you would. So just dive right in, think for a moment, and when you're ready, write something down. Is anyone feeling brave enough to tell us what they wrote down?
I put to grow my recurring membership to 38,000 monthly.
Fantastic.
Yes.
That's an amazing goal. Good for you. Way to have the vision.
Yeah.
That's something to be celebrated. As a business owner, taking the time to have that vision and to remember it is critical. Now, I challenge each one of you, whatever you wrote here, to go home, write it on a separate piece of paper, and stick it to your wall where you're going to see it every single day. That's your first step to success. Because if you constantly are putting this in front of your brain's going to work on it and the subconscious to actually work to achieve that. And then your daily tasks and the things you're doing throughout the day will shift slightly to help you realign to that goal. So it's critical that you keep that front and center. This is what I'm trying to do. This is what I'm trying to achieve. And the easiest way is to put it on your wall where you're going to see it every day. So let's now move on to something totally different. And for some, this is easier than others because some people have thought of it before, but what are your company core values? And in a minute, we're going to tie all these seemingly random things back together and it'll make sense. But let's take a minute and just write those down. Most companies have somewhere between 3 and 7. And so anywhere from 1 up to as many as you want is reasonable, but most companies usually fall on 5.
think it'd be good too if we all share like a little something.
Sure.
I think it'd be really good. We can have it.
Yeah, we'll want to keep it a little bit condensed so we don't spend the whole meeting talking about one section, but for
Yeah.
sure.
You do, you got a good workbook.
There's more here than we can cover in an hour and a half, I'm sure.
You're like, no, Nikki.
I don't try to get all the way through it. So. All right, looks like we're getting close here. And the nice thing is typically it'll take someone a little bit of time to put those in stone. So if you're not 100% satisfied today, that's okay. It took me months to finalize and land on this is the wording we're going to use to represent who Boise Web is. Anyone have a core value that they wanna read off for us?
Yeah. Communication, open, informed clients.
Fantastic. Anyone else?
One of ours, so my name, I hope yours is too. It's, otherwise.
Maybe that's our problem.
Educating people.
I have integrity through authentic networking and also authentic referrals. So we don't just refer within because we know each other, we refer because we've had that experience.
Fantastic.
Legitimate referral.
Mhm.
Yeah, one of ours is leaving a dramatic, positive, lasting impression.
Excellent.
I've got a lot. Learn, grow, repeat. Community is probably the best. That would maybe that word is fine.
Very cool. Now we're going to do something really fun. We're going to put our pens down for a second. And we're going to all close our eyes and we're going to think about a best friend. And as soon as you can picture that best friend, think about what's their favorite food? What do they like to do for fun? If they had a Saturday, what would they do on that Saturday? Where would they go on vacation? What kind of jokes do they think are funny? Can everybody picture this person? Yeah, okay, now open your eyes. How many of you know your customers or your ideal customer as well as you know that best friend? So now let's take a moment and just identify what that picture of your ideal customer looks like, as well, trying to identify them as well as you can identify that best friend of yours.
one you could go on.
Yeah, yeah, you could spend days and days. So now that you know your ideal customer and you've got that mindset of who they are, does your ideal customer love your core values as much as you do? And are there any core values that they don't care about? So what's interesting is that if those two don't synchronize, your core values and the core values they're going to be looking for in a company, you'll have a disconnect, which means you've either got to change your core values or you have to change your ideal customer because they don't synchronize in such a way that they'll magically meet each other and want to connect. So that's a critical key component for success in business. Is build core values that your ideal customer relates to.
You have to drink that much. It's a tough one.
We're starting here.
So how's everyone feeling about that so far?
Good.
Anybody have any insights that popped out or any thoughts?
I noticed that something that's missing in the core value is a lot of people within GOL have a healthy lifestyle or seeking a healthy lifestyle or learning that needs to maybe be incorporated more in the core value. No, I didn't list it, but it's there. But it made me reflect, like what's important to them should be brought more than forefront into that. So I think missing.
Right.
I noticed that I was hitting, when I was writing out the identity of my ideal client, the words were not the same that were in either of my businesses that I'm doing this for, but and I noticed them more as values here in my client than in when I was looking at what my personal values are. So there is a disconnect. This is something I want to go back and look at. Not that they're not the same, but they're different words. They're different. There's a lot of meaning that's dissimilar, like curiosity, like being curious, like that's not in my values, but it came up in my ideal client. Right?
That is interesting. Yeah, it's interesting because when we find the words that our customers use and we use those same words back to them, they feel a different connection. So if you said, I want to find an amazing house, and I come back and I say, I have a fantastic house, that doesn't carry that same value
Right,
as when I say, I found that amazing house. You're like, yes,
Right.
that's it. And so a lot of attracting those customers is making those connections and speaking their language. All right. So the next thing that we're going to jump into is we're going back to our goal for a second. And usually a goal is something big that we're trying to do. But you can never take and do a goal at once. So for example, if you wanted to donate a gallon of blood to the Red Cross, no matter how bad you try, you can't do that at once.
Right.
You've got to break it down into baby steps. You could try and you'd never win. So let's take that same principle and break down your goal that you want for the end of the year into a few actionable steps and dates when you're planning to accomplish each one of those. How does everyone feel about their steps? Overwhelming? Doable? Where are we sitting on this spectrum?
I think I write one and then I go, oh my gosh, and then I also have to do that, oh, but then I need to do that, and then I also have to do that, oh, and that too.
Mhm.
Is this doable? So I'm a date of 11/11 to get grounded botanicals going. And so my big thing is getting 5. So my goal is 5 fully completed products to have available at the grand opening. And so, you know, it's, for me, it's like finishing it and getting the samples out. Oh, and then I need the educational piece about it on social media. Oh, but then I have to look at the legalities of the FDA labeling of each thing. Oh, and I also need to learn how to seal every single package, and how do I do that, and preservation, and love it.
It is a lot.
But it's good. It's good because it's starting to break it down, right? So then it's at least getting out of my brain.
Yep, absolutely.
Great.
So the next step from that, is that how everyone else feels with it?
I think that's called GFT Monday.
And Tuesday and Wednesday and Thursday.
Well, I like this because I could, I mean, all the stuff that in my mind was been in one big glob. So now it's kind of structured and.
And you put them like in order, you didn't necessarily put dates, huh?
Right, yeah,
Yeah,
priority order.
Sure, fantastic.
which is kind of what she's talking about. She's like, oh, I have to do this before I can do that, so then I have to do this before I can do that. So she reverse engineering, found the goal, and then she's working backwards to, well, I need to do this before this. That's kind of how my brain works, and yeah, I'm in the
Goal
process of,
dependent,
yeah.
yeah.
Well, I know where I'm going now, and now what I'm finding is when I'm doing one step and I'm stuck for a little bit, or I'm working through figuring this out, my brain wants to go here, and I'm training it to stay on this one. Because we'll get there when we get there. We gotta get here, we gotta do this one first. So this was helpful because I'd already done that. Now it's how do I duplicate this to reach my goal?
Yeah.
That's where I'm at in this fourth quarter, is duplicating what I've already done this month to actually reach the goal.
What's your goal?
The goal is to have the courses out for marketing, you know, for sale and to market. So I've already created the course, and one of them's in testing right now, beta testing, so then it'll be ready to launch. But I have another one I want to do, so I want to have 2 of them come out together, but then I have 6 more. But that are ready, they just need to roll out, but I'm in the phase of what does it look like to get them to where I feel they're ready to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. Go to market. So, but part of it's done because I've already worked myself through that. You know, the way she's doing it, and you're going this way. I love that.
I set my goal probably, I guess, relatively low, because it's around marketing, and right now we're just not in the marketing phase. We're very, very focused on operational. With all of our growth that we've experienced over the last year or two, we haven't had a ton of growth here in the Treasure Valley, and so my goal is just to get an introduction to a single company with 20 or more employees here in the Treasure Valley. Just a single introduction with somebody like that. So, yeah, I came up with the 5 steps. Just come up with the ask. So I want to meet with people. I've been locked in my office for months now, and I'm just now kind of getting out again. So I want to set up meetings with people that I haven't talked to in a while and come up with a good ask for them. You know, do you know anybody that has a company with 20 or more employees? Just make that ask, get that list up, and that's 10 people that I've got to get a meeting with and sit down and get that scheduled, make the ask, and then find the eventual company. So, yeah.
Fantastic.
So ask us.
Well, what company? do you know?
Action. Goal, action. We all start.
Goals by the end of the month. Gold starts.
So now take another look at your list and think about your goal, but think about it from a new angle and a new perspective. Which one of those do you specifically yourself have to do? And are there parts or portion of any of those that other people could or should do, either because it would offload from you or because they're better at it and it would make it faster? So I'd notate that.
No, that just scared me to death. But I can the answer is yes, there are I'm sure there are things that I could, yes, that I don't want to do.
Don't want to let go, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Cause you feel like they won't do it to your level or?
What if they could do it better?
I think they could, I mean, especially once I get the intellectual property out of my head. Do you know what I mean? Once it's out, then there's so much of the tech stuff that I don't need to do. And I'm not necessarily fabulous at it, not even close to fabulous at it. And it does take a lot of, I feel like I need to know how to do it, which is what I'm learning right now, but I don't need to do it on a regular basis. So yeah, there's especially the continuous stuff on that, like
That goes
that.
back to SOPs.
Yeah,
that we've gone
yeah,
over.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
What we say.
Standard operating procedures.
But having someone else do that.
We also have to take the time to write this.
And you also have to take the
That's-
time,
That's
take
also
the
a
time
thing to
to write it
remember.
and also to train.
Correct.
Cause I really learned that people cannot see in my brain. And what my words come out, and I think is perfect, are not what someone else saw in their brain at all, right? And I think that's probably the biggest frustration in delegation in my business. Is I feel like, how come you don't see what I'm saying? Like, if I could draw this, like, they don't see it.
So
That's
does
the
everyone
market.
have one item that they're like, oh, yeah, that's the one that I wish I could delegate?
Yes.
Does everyone have one? Good, turn to the next page.
We get to call them.
You're going to identify something that can be standardized, and we're going to start writing out those steps to create that standard operating procedure.
I got a tech one, that's easy. I will delegate tech. Oh, I said SFP, that's what we're. That's so funny.
Yeah, that's exactly what we did.
It's like you.
You read my mind.
In spirit. David, it has taught us well.
Yes.
Yeah, we did a whole, I think we did a whole, fireside on that, didn't we?
That's for advice on something.
Please do.
So I feel like a lot of where I'm at in business is I'm kind of going into a lot of uncharted territory. So a lot of what I'm hoping for help for in the next few months is research, right? So I don't actually have a lot of guidance to give to people. Like, for example, like with labels. So to be able to sell fire cider, I need to have specific label requirements based by the FDA. And the FDA sets all these standards. So I would love to send somebody out on a wild goose chase to go find all of that information and like bring
So-
it back to me. So like would an SOP be in the regards of like the values, like the priorities or like
So it
any
sounds to
advice?
me in this particular situation with fire cider, you have a very specific thing that you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to validate that every ingredient at the amount specified in your formula is within compliance of FDA regulations.
That part's my job, 100%. But the label itself, so there's it's just like, so fire cider label has to be this wide, and then the spacing between the letters has to be this, and the price has to be 2 times larger than the ingredient list. And
Do you know there's people that specialize in making labels all day, every day? And did you know that every one of those people have produced a label that's on the shelf of a store? So you could literally assign someone to go get a label off from a product in a store
Mhm.
and mimic it, and you'll be in compliance, especially if it's a product from Johnson & Johnson or anyone else. So that would solve that problem, but as far as you saying that you have to do the analysis, I would push back on that and say, if you had a standard process of saying, you go to this website, you search for this specific thing, you identify this piece of information, you report that piece of information from the FDA website on this document with a link back to it, and you do that over and over and over and over, and you hand me this stack of information, then you, the specialist, could condense what would take 10 hours down to an hour because they went and retrieved all the information for you in a standardized way.
yes, that's what I want. All of that, Cool, so that's possible.
100%.
I like the premium product.
I used to think that it was impossible to standardize website design. And I thought that my business was the exception. How can you standardize a design? Because your business looks nothing like your business. Like everybody's businesses are so different. And then the epiphany hit me. Yes, that's true, but there's always an end goal. And for a website, that end goal is almost always the same. The end goal is, how do I connect with potential customers? How do I tell my story? How do I resonate with them? And how do I make them want to do business with me? And that's what we could standardize, is that process, which gave us greater freedom and flexibility and more time to really tell your story and to tell your story when we're building those sites. So by figuring out the parts that can be standardized, we made it so our business could be more efficient so that we had more freedom for the creative side.
Mhm.
So how's everyone feeling about their steps?
I didn't think that there was anything in my steps that really somebody else could do. Then, thinking about just the scheduling and reaching out to people and just getting that process rolling. I can hand that off. We identify the person, we verify their contact information.
Right.
I'm gonna have to create a bookings page, but then send the invite for the bookings page.
Yeah.
And anybody can do that.
Absolutely, yeah.
Doesn't have to be-
And I think another option for your business would be to find a partner that actually serves similar types of customers and actually upload that to them as well and say, hey, let's create that relationship where you'll introduce me to a business and I'll give you a finder's fee. And you took it from needing an SOP to needing a who, and that who already has their procedures in place so well that you don't need to build the SOP, you just need to reward them for that expertise that they have to do. Would be another option.
We need a who.
Not how, but who, that's a whole book.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Hoo-hoo.
this is the who.
So now you can use that in hiring the who, but not that who,
Not that here.
not that who. The who won't be hireable. The band. Sorry,
Oh,
Nikki knows what I'm talking
I was
about.
thinking about Horton's too. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
Horton, who's the who?
Why would that be able to do this?
I know Dr. Seuss.
We all did.
Everybody knows.
He went to the band.
The band, yeah.
He probably did too. That, you guys,
There we go. Now
there
we're jamming.
you found your connection here.
But what's interesting is you take these standard operating procedures and you combine that with your core values and you implement that as a part of your hiring process. And now when you hire new people, they know what's expected of them. They know how to perform. They know the values your company has. And all of this rolls back to how to attract your ideal customer like a magnet. If from the moment that they first are introduced to your company, they're hearing those words that resonate. And then during the sales process, they hear that same messaging that resonates. And then the customers that are doing the fulfillment, or the employees that are doing the fulfillment for those customers, have the same set of values and exhibit those values. And the processes that you've been put in place all resonate with those same values. When they get done, they go from being a customer to a raving fan because the whole process resonated with who they are. And so then they'll tell their friends about you, and like-minded people gather together. And so your ideal customer hangs out with your ideal customer. And so naturally, by building good processes and having a good team, you then are attracting future customers because word of mouth works for those ideal customers.
Your ambassadors, yeah.
Exactly. Right.
I've never thought of doing SOPs from the standpoint of your core values. That's interesting. That's really interesting. You know, how do your SOPs actually go back to your core values and speak to your core values so that every step along the way is reinforcing those values?
Mhm.
It doesn't even go back who you hire. So I didn't hire
Yeah.
Jason until I grilled him to make sure his heart was in the place that he could build a website that energetically would match what GOL is. Like I wouldn't have hired him if I didn't know he had the heart in it.
Yeah.
Does that kind of like relate to that?
100%. Yeah.
So he aligned with your values of what you saw this business needed to be.
So I don't have anybody work on GOL until I make sure that they're open to our community and are on board with our mission.
So this is a good example. So when she's maybe your ideal client, let's say, but how did you align with that? Were you, because you also have a business and you having to bring her on as an ideal client, were you guys matching the same word? Were your values the same? Did you identify it when you were having conversations with her that you guys would be a good match?
I know the moment the match. I don't know. I'll wait for I know the moment what you said.
What did I say?
Oh,
I'm
everybody-
intrigued.
I want to hear you.
I wanna hear what it says about what, you know, being the person who does this, how did you kind of know that this might work out as being her person?
So first thing I do is find out who they are and what they are interested in. And then we started mapping, and I knew she's telling me this vision and I was diagramming it.
Mhm.
And I thought, I know that we can build what she's trying to achieve. And I also know we have not only the expertise, but personally align with where she's trying to go and what she's trying to build. So I knew just from talking and having that good conversation that we were a match on, I like the direction she's going. I like what she's building. Plus, what she needs is a match for what my company offers. And so it happened over, for me, a really solid meeting, and David was there too. And all three of us were just really in sync. Just the energy in the room was very much in sync.
And it was after he pulled back and looked at the map and he goes, "You're trying to," he's saying, "change the world." And I go, yes, I am. You get it. I mean, it's big. It was really big, but he saw that. He saw the big picture. That sold it for me right there, that one line that he said.
Cause he didn't say it like, I'm trying to change the world. Like, it's like, this vision's too big, or he didn't, yeah, he aligned with your vision.
And I never said that to him, but he saw the vision. So that, for me.
And he validated it by the way he said it too, and I think that's powerful, you know, right, you were in the room.
Yeah, cause like you said, you could feel that energy and we're all looking at this map that he's drawing out. Yeah, here, and you can just, everybody's leaning into it and you can feel that, and I think you just tell that those core values match up.
That's cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think a reflection on that is, I noted when we were doing ideal client work, before, was the reflection of what most patients say to me at the end of the visit, which is, I've never been to a doctor's visit like this before. And beforehand, I was like, I want to be that doctor that people say that. And then it started happening and it was like, oh, and so it's very correlative. If those kinds of things are said at the end, they're sticking around, like they're coming back, they're gonna bring their family, they're gonna bring their friends, right? Because I gave the experience that I was hoping that they would not receive, right? And they reflected it back.
Right.
So that's a huge like validation of, yes, one, I'm living to my core values and people are getting the experience that I want them.
Yep.
And then like that, it's a good relationship.
Yeah, and if you can standardize that as you grow as a business, then you make sure that your employees are giving that same effect, right? All right, activity number 6, authentic communication. And this is where the rubber really hits the road. From all the things that we've kind of talked about around the edges, now we're diving and going straight for it, for how do we attract those ideal clients like a magnet? And this is a set of questions that's going to help you answer that and then build on it for the next activity. So let's walk through that. Number 1 is, what sets your business apart from all others?
From service area, do you mean like location or?
Yeah, is it the entire United States? Is it only the city of Kuna? Is it everywhere except the city of Kuna? Like where is it that you're willing to do business with people?
So as it expands, it becomes more of an SOP process for duplication.
Very much can, yeah.
The world.
And the guarantee.
Yeah, talk about guarantee.
The guarantee is interesting. So several years ago, I was working with a skincare company and they were having trouble selling their product. And the product had before and after pictures, had testimonials, and they were having a hard time getting people buying the product. It just wasn't happening. And so we started brainstorming, what can we do? How can we change this? And one of the big things that we hit on was, I said, let's go ahead and try doing a guarantee. And the guarantee was, they're like, oh, that's an interesting idea. Okay. And I said, well, hear me out on a guarantee. I want to do an unconditional 2 years money back guarantee, includes shipping, no questions asked. And most everyone did exactly what David did. Their eyebrows went, what? And they said, no, that's over the top. It's ridiculous. Don't do that. That's stupid. And my question back to him was, why? If you know your product works, if you're sure it's going to have a positive effect on them, make it ridiculous. Because the purpose of a guarantee is to get people who are sitting on the fence to look at your business and say, I'm willing to try that business, even though I have reservations, I'm willing to try that business because of their guarantee. Now, that being said, money back guarantee oftentimes doesn't help as much as other guarantees. So there's two formats that I found for guarantees. One is the XY formula. If X happens, we will do Y, or if X doesn't happen, we will do Y. And that's often satisfaction guaranteed or your money back. That's the most common that everyone's heard. But the other less common, but far more impactful guarantee is when you take and you either draw that line in the sand or you stick your pole down and say, this is who we are. And it's the declarative guarantee. And so we promise or we guarantee to do something or not to do something. So within my own business, we have a few guarantees. We guarantee that if your website ever did get hacked, we would clean it up for free. We own that, it's on us, not your problem. That's our problem. That's one guarantee. Another guarantee that we have is we guarantee we will never lock you in a long-term contract. You can literally fire us the very next day if you feel so inclined. There's no long-term commitment. And both of those things are impactful because in my industry, most businesses do business the exact opposite of that. So I've now taken and through a few words, I've been able to make this guarantee that I paste out right on the website so everyone can see it, or where on my marketing materials that says, you're used to business being done this way. We promise we won't do it that way. We do it this way over here. And that is extremely impactful for attracting those ideal clients, because if you do it right, your guarantee should resonate with some of their biggest concerns with your industry.
I have bought things because of the guarantee drop before.
I love what you're doing, coming back to your ideal customer and thinking about them for a minute. That's excellent. How much time do we have?
It's almost 3 o'clock. We have till 3:30.
Okay,
So we'll wanna, 3:15.
Okay. Okay.
That was my alarm to pick up my books.
if they're walking today, huh?
She has her right. I have alarms, otherwise I'll forget my children. I get them alarms too.
So one of the other ones, in 3 to 8 words, what does your business do? One of the most impactful things you can do is you can write that out, and it may take several revisions to get that. But then when you get done, you think about that and you say, are those the words my customer would use to describe what I do? And again, taking it back to that ideal customer and saying, how would they describe what we do in 3 to 8 words? Because who's been to a doctor or something and they use words that you never would, and when you get done, you're more confused than you started.
Well, like, yeah, go ahead.
Well, I was gonna say, do you recommend doing like a survey to existing customers and basically asking, or maybe just calling, whatever, it doesn't have to be an electronic survey, but just calling and saying, how would you explain what we do?
Yeah, I think that's extremely impactful. If you've got loyal customers that are willing to give you that information, that's amazing. Because you want to replicate them, and they'll probably all talk fairly similar.
Call the best customers.
Yeah. Yeah.
When reviews reflect a lot, the rest of it, see, and yours may be a little bit different, but a lot of my reviews will be reflective of how that doctor experience was, and so I take a lot from that. And then a lot of patients talk about their experience, like at GLO, and it's like, oh, that's how you see that. Oh, good idea, yeah.
I've used
does help.
networking and versus jumping in and introducing, I'll allow the middle person, like if you were introducing us, just allowing you to introduce what I do from your perspective. So I've just kind of let people do that, and I've had interesting, like how their eyes, how they would explain it. And it either tells me, oh, they get it, or I need to educate, and get clarity. As I have my own personal messaging. Or just how people are, what they say, just even networking. Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's funny, that's exactly what I thought last night, or Wednesday night when you introduced me.
Mhm.
I purposely wanted to hear that, so that I could see, and you and I have to have a talk. You don't get me, and I'm like, I recognized it as me, I was exactly it, I'm like, huh, yeah.
She recorded me too. I was on the spot.
Well, on your phone, so. I wish I had on my phone so I could listen and go,
I gave it
wow.
praise.
No, it was great, but I was like, that's interesting, just like Dana says, it's interesting to hear someone else hear what they think you do.
Do your pitch for you. So I get up there and pitch for people when they're not there to do the raffle. And
But
so
they
it
don't get to
wasn't-
hear it.
They don't get to hear, but I've never done yours. And so
No. Well,
that was actually.
not that I've ever heard. So it was very
She
valuable.
comes to everything. She's.
Well, but I mean, and there may have been times, but I heard you do, Gerald's and different things, because, and I thought, well, she was doing it for everybody, and she goes, now you do yours, and I said, no, I want to hear what you have to say about my business, and it was very valuable, and enlightened me in that, there's a couple things that maybe you don't understand, and I know he doesn't understand either, because you're so close, you just think that we have the same thing. Now I've experienced Dana, she probably does a whole bunch of things different, and in conjunction to what she does that I haven't had an experience with, but I have my personal experience with her as a physician, as my doctor, my caregiver, and I can speak to that. That's all I can speak to, right? Or what my friends have told me, or, and also her personality, but I think that's very valuable to get that feedback.
Yeah, you also never know, like, what people pick up in the words that you say. I had a conversation this morning where an employee of ours thought that there was an expectation on him to close a certain number of tickets per day. I have no idea what I said to
Right.
give him that impression, but I did somewhere along the way, and I didn't. He's been working for us for several months.
Has he been doing that? Has he been closing those tickets?
He's been doing that, but there was another part of his work that was lacking a little bit, and is more important to me, but he thought what was important was getting those tickets closed. And so I didn't know that until this feedback happened. And so you never know, like, the words that you're saying that you think are conveying exactly what it is that you're trying to do, just like you were talking about, where you're trying to give an SOP, you're trying to tell someone what to do, and what they're hearing is not what you think you're saying.
Right,
Yeah, so that's,
perception.
yeah, so you have to have that external feedback.
Tell me what I just said.
Yeah.
You really, yeah.
So now,
It's really tough.
how many of you were able to get a 3 to 8 word message?
No way.
No,
Well,
okay.
maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 6.
Good
That's
for you.
good. On that one, but it needs work.
Mhm. Now imagine you got that done. And you put that as the very first thing someone sees when they land on your website.
Oh, yeah. That would be better than what they see now. Ding, ding, ding for me. So can you expand on that?
Yeah.
So you
So
then you
take
want it to
that-
go even further?
Right, so imagine someone looking at that website and they see this 3 to 8 word message that describes what you do. And then right underneath that, you have an expanded message that's maybe 8 to 20 words that expands on that 3 to 8 word message to add additional clarity as to an organization, how you're helping those people or those other businesses. Or if you print a paper brochure and you put that 3 to 8 word message with a nice picture on the and behind it, and then down below that expanded message that's 8 to 20 words. So they really play quite nicely together, that 3 to 8 word message and then your expanded message, so that you can really give clarity to those ideal customers as to what it is you're offering and how you're offering it.
Can I put a plug for what you told me when you came into my office? Because it has changed the way that here I go back to AI again. I guess I really like that or something. Well, because you mentioned to help kind of inspire getting more verbiage and sharing is to tell AI to look at the way you wrote your website. And then to take that information to help with blank, right? So if like for me, I'm like, oh, I could put this 3 to 8 words in and then ask, can you take the way that this website is written and can you help me to expand and just see what it says, right? It's got me a lot of new adverbs and adjectives that I've started using more regularly. And it's very, very helpful and it really works. It speaks just like me and it's kind of scary. More like you and me some days. I'm like, no, I'm having a good day out there. It's great. So that was a really good nugget of advice for people who are trying to do.
Thank you for sharing.
Yeah, it's fun. You're like, I'll be right back. You go out there. How should I say this to this client? You come back. You have no idea. That's what you're doing over there. You're typing it.
Wait, hold on 1 second. Say that one more time. What was that?
It started
Caught me.
responding back.
Oh, yeah.
It's just started responding back to me. Is there anything else I can help you with?
Mine always
Wait, what?
does. Mine says, thank you, have a great day. If you are choosing to go to bed, it says that. If you are choosing to go to bed, please have a good night.
I don't have the paid version. You have the paid version.
What do you think? You think a sample night? I'm a sample night.
I'm watching you.
It's like,
Good morning. Like, oh. You wake up, good morning, how can I help you? Oh.
no, I don't pay for an assistant.
How creepy. Wait, that's like you screenshotting my calendar. You're open at this time, right?
So let's jump back in. Why should someone trust your company? And more importantly, going back to your ideal customers, once you've written that down, does that matter to them?
Okay, repeat that.
Why should someone trust your company? That's the first part of the question.
Right.
But then the second part is, more importantly, for your ideal customers, what you wrote down for your answer doesn't matter. Do those things matter to your ideal customer? Again, does the communication resonate? Because if the ideal customer is looking for someone that they can trust because of an introduction, and you're over here saying that you're so great because you've donated all this money to charity, and they're like, well, that's not my concern. I trust people that are introduced to me. That's a very different dynamic and mindset. So making sure that the reasons you give for why you're trustworthy resonates with that ideal client. That's nice. These core values resonating with ideal clients. Yeah.
Mhm.
Can customers see the work that you've done, and how would they see it? And then most important, how would they want to see that in a way that would make them trust you more? It would be really difficult, I'd imagine, for David to do a before and after picture most of the time. I mean, maybe you could show a cleaned up desktop. But there's other ways that you can exhibit
Yeah, I mean,
the work you've done.
for us, it has to be done kind of more with metrics. And most companies don't have any kind of IT metrics before we come on board, but they usually have feelings about their IT before we come on board. And so we have to paint the picture. It's not just a picture that we can look at before and after, but we can paint the picture of before we started helping and then how they are now.
Can you do metrics before you get started?
No, because of some there are some things that we can pick up, but most of it is, you know, well, how many tickets did you have before? Well, nobody knows because we weren't submitting tickets. We weren't doing anything with tickets. It was just, we just had problems.
That would be a bad metric, 5,000% increase in tickets.
Right. We didn't have any tickets before you came along. And they had problems, but they weren't measuring the problems. And so, but they certainly had the feelings of the problems, you know, and so a lot of times we paint the picture of the office manager that is crawling around on the floor, moving cables around, and most office managers don't want to do that. Now we do that for them, and so that's one of those things. It's actually one of the least important things that we do, but it's the most impactful because now the office manager doesn't do that. So
if on your website you said, yeah, we guarantee you won't have to crawl around moving cables anymore.
Yeah.
That matters.
Yeah.
Because you just said it matters the most. But then also for you, can customers see the work you've done? Not really, but if you interviewed a customer, you said, tell us about what it was like before. Well, I spent 6 hours a week troubleshooting other people's problems in the company. Productivity was down, blah, blah, blah. And they told that story in a video. Very much you could still paint that picture of this is the work we've done.
yeah. That's interesting because I'm trying to think of how we can go ask our customers in 3 to 8 words what we do. I think I'd like to add that to our onboarding actually. And what are 3 to 8 words that you would use to describe your IT environment before we get started here? What are 3 to 8 words that you would use to describe your environment? And then ask them again in 90 days.
That would be impactful.
That's really, and you see that people learn values too. And what are you looking for? What I liked was what you just said about the getting a video of someone who's done it, because if that creates it's a testimonial, but it's a targeted testimonial. It's a video that it describes that thing right there. So it aligns with his values as well as the client's values. So therefore, if that client is someone who hangs out with, if that ideal client, he'll hang out with other ideal clients, so that will resonate with whatever he says. So getting videos of clients telling their story, a video testimony, a story of how you helped, how we've helped them, the peace of mind that they can sleep well at night now, and they don't have to worry about running out of money ever in their retirement. Those are impactful because they're stories that will appeal to the rest, other people who are like them.
100%.
I love that. That is, I mean, testimonials are one thing, but really the story testimonials. And asking, going to a particular client and saying, you know, can you talk about this thing? Right?
That's really all before and afters are anyway, really, like if you're, you know, in fitness, so if you look before and after pictures, people who are living a story from a before perspective understand that story, but if you don't have the before and after picture, having the before story is the same equivalency, I think.
Well, the before and after pictures are great to see physical changes,
Right.
but when you see the emotional changes that occur
Right.
from the transformations that you
Sure.
accomplish,
Which to me are more important.
that is, and that hits me more. I
Right.
mean, I can look at a picture all day long and go, oh yeah, but she's sucking it in here, or you know, or whatever, you know, it's a good day. You know, I can always judge them some way, but when I hear their story, I can't deny that. And if we're suffering from something that I currently feel,
Yeah.
then I'm more drawn in to the person who helped them.
And I would say for you with Ignited Fitness, how you differentiate in your niche is you create community. And I see that in your social media and your videos, you create a strong community bond.
Yeah.
Right, people feel like part of a family and tribe with Ignited Fitness.
I think about that.
And the words do the same, you sing the words don't do the same as someone else does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, connected sport community.
Is that how you're different too?
Yeah, it's tough because like a lot of boutique fitness gyms say they do that. And so that's where my challenge has always been, is kind of like in this realm of boutique fitness, a lot of them say they do that. I think it's like, do you actually though? Like, do you actually do what you're saying you do? And how do you prove that you do, you know?
How do you prove that you do?
I think, you know, like you said, like community events and stuff, we do a lot of get-togethers and challenges and stuff that people partake of. And then make those types of social posts, so there's like a group out there. And I think the biggest thing is realistically just the referrals that we get. You know, people wouldn't bring people to us if we didn't feel supported. And like want to share what we have, so.
Well, this is something that I was thinking about mine, but it goes back into community, is I want to grow both the memberships, which I've been heavily focused on the provider, but I'll be shifting into the seekers. And what are they seeking? People are seeking community and they want to be involved and make a bigger impact. So how do I do that? I do that for different kind of events, you know, with the Many Tribe. But then, you know, if we do like a fundraiser or like karaoke or kind of something that's outside the building, like even for you, I could kind of see that as like your, you know, Ignited Fitness is going and doing this thing together, like, you know, raking leaves for the neighborhood or something, like Rake Up Boise or something, because that's something coming up, but I don't know, just ideas.
Yeah.
And we have only
We,
5 minutes.
the
left,
room is
so.
closed at 3:45, so
Okay.
the event goes to 3:30.
Because we have a whole nother page that we can dive into of good stuff. But I wanted maybe to take a break from that for a second and just kind of breathe and talk about something totally different. And it'll be interesting to see actually how it all ties back together. So search engine optimization, SEO. So you gotta go in a completely different direction. But what's crazy is when I get done talking, you'll be like, wow, that was crazy how it all ties together. So SEO is the process of showing up at the top of the search results. So if somebody's looking for whatever your service is, you want to be that #1 business, right? So years ago, when SEO first started, all you had to do is say the word more than anyone else, and you showed up #1. So if you were trying to sell water bottles, water bottle, over and over and over, and then you'd put it all over on the page, and then you'd hide it in the background, and then you put it white words on the white background and water. And that was how you did SEO. It was horrible. It was atrocious. And then you'd get these random results, and then you'd be on a website that's talking about alien graveyards, and you're like, I'm trying to buy a water bottle. What's going on? And anyway, over the years, the search engines, they're a business. All of them are, the ones that are left anyway, and they're in the business of providing the best results to the customer in the moment they're doing the search. So what they've gotten to now, and several years ago, Google said, it's all different. We've shifted everything. It used to be that you had to use those words the right way, and you had to put them in the meta description, and you had to put your meta keywords in, you had to put your title and your image alt, and you had to make sure that you had your link sculpted the right way, and you had to have your content siloed. No, that's not how it works. Google said, this is the new way. You have to prove to the world that you have expertise. You have to prove that you're an expert, and those are two different things. You have to prove that you're an authority on the subject, and you have to prove that you're trustworthy. That's what matters today. Now let's glimpse into the future. We mentioned AI just briefly. The major companies want to become your AI assistant. All of the major companies are chasing that goal. That goal is that they will know what your values are. They'll know what you care about. They'll know the way you think. They'll know the way you talk and the words you use to talk, right? If the companies are all building these platforms to become your AI assistant, they're doing the same for all of the people in the world, which means all of your potential customers. They're gunning to become their AI assistants too. So in the next several years, when someone says, hey, AI assistant, I'm trying to lose weight. I'm trying to get healthy. I'm trying to fix my company's IT. And the AI assistant goes out and scans all of the options. And it says, wow, looking at this company, they really resonate with what you care about. They provide tremendous value. They provide efficient solutions. They guarantee that you'll never have to deal with this. I recommend you talk to this company. So that's my prediction of SEO in the future. So what you're doing today is building your SEO not only for today, but for the next 10 years as well. So this foundational information that you're extracting out of yourself to build your brand, to find your ideal customers, that's the same direction that Google is going in an effort to try and connect you with the ideal clients of tomorrow. So this is not just something that will help in the short term, but it's the direction to do really good business in the future. But it also helps with SEO today, because if you can prove that you have expertise because you have those testimonial videos, David, and you prove that you have experience because you have that, and you figure out these ways of proving those 4 things, and a lot of the questions that are in this packet are designed to help you extract that information out of yourself and then put it on the web, you're going to prove to Google that you're far better than your competition is.
Let me run something past you then. So my first page is the website for our financial services.
Mhm.
So if I'm looking at these things, so we have a very emotional video with me talking to a client about how we saved her when she had breast cancer and things like that. I've been with the company, I'm the executive vice president with the company 13 years, so our expertise, all that stuff. Nationally licensed in 9 states, all those types of things. So if those were listed on that website, that video is right there. Does AI find that stuff? If, again, I mean, I haven't, put in the background or anything like that. It's just the 2 or 3 paragraphs that I have on that first page. I mean, is that exposed enough for AI to say, hey, this person checks off these 4 boxes?
So that helps. So to put into perspective, I have 2,000 pages on my website right now, all with the intent in improving those 4 things. And so absolutely, the more of that you do, the better, with the caveat that you don't want to overwhelm someone when they get to your site. So typically on the homepage, I recommend you'll have a 3 to 8 word message. You'll have an 8 to 20 word sub message below that. And then this is one thing that's fairly unique to the way we build websites. I recommend that you figure out between 2 and 4, most people land on 3, core differentiators. And those core differentiators are things that your business does in a unique way that your ideal customer cares about. And if you can put those, the shorter you put those, the better. So for my company, we're convenient, we're affordable, we're professional. Those are our 3 core differentiators. So I put that right there, and then I put a small blurb underneath each one of those. Underneath that, you'll want to have something that describes the services or the products that you offer in a short and concise way, because you still have to describe it in a way that the search engines can look at that and say, oh, I understand what they offer. You talk about the customer. You'll have sections on the page to talk about trust. So that can come into testimonials, like you have that great video where if this company is willing to help save that woman, why would anyone not trust that company? So that's a huge trust factor right there. But you can do testimonials, the credentials, critical in the financial services. Google is very, very, very cautious around your life and your money. And so the more certifications that you put right there, the better for Google, but also for humans. Because if humans can see that you have 1 credential, they're like, that's interesting, I wonder what that is. But if they saw that you had 20 credentials and you had all the icons for all the credentials, or you had each credential listed out, like, wow, that's impressive.
Yeah.
They've really taken the effort to be a professional here, and that builds that trust. And that's what moves you up in the search engine. And then you'll definitely need a call to action on the page. And then you can intersperse other things like your guarantees on the page as well. And so that's usually some variation of that is the embodiment of a really good homepage.
Two questions. One, do you see, or is this currently happening? So a lot of us use social media. So I have my website, Inspiring Natural Medicine, and then I have my @TheDrDana, which is my Instagram that's not Inspiring Natural Medicine, but I sure post a lot about it. AI doesn't link those, correct? So that doesn't lead to me being more of an expert. Would it if I did @Inspiring Natural Medicine and started posting on there, or how does social media affect?
It's far creepier than you think.
Oh.
So here's the real answer.
It
So
probably knows all of them.
Google has what they call their knowledge tree or their knowledge graph. And they take every single entity that they can identify and they create all the knowledge that they can around that entity. Imagine Wikipedia on steroids, but it's all controlled by Google. So Google knows who you as a human are. They know all of the Gmail accounts that you've ever logged into. They know all of the social media that you have, and they do the same for every other entity, your business. They know your business website. They know your Google business profile. They know your social profiles. They link all of that together. So if you're posting on your social, Google says that they don't use social for their algorithm rankings. But they also said that they don't use the Google Chrome browser for their algorithm rankings until they accidentally released a whole mountain of private documents this year that showed that they were using the search. So yes, so they say one thing, but it's not always true. So they know everything about your social profile. So years ago, I had another company that was providing skincare for animals. And this company could not get ranked on the search engines at all. And so what we did is we did just a social campaign. We got micro influencers, not even big influencers, just a number of micro influencers to talk about this dog and cat skin product. And all of a sudden they magically went from nowhere to whoop, they were at the top of the search engine. Why? Because all of a sudden there was all this social trust around this brand that wasn't known before. So what happens on social is used as factors in search results.
And it can build the connections on its own. Google will
100%.
It knows, Dana's both
Those-
Dr. Dana and
Yes.
Fire Natural.
Yeah.
And Grounded Botanicals, it would connect that together too.
Very much, yeah.
Okay, so even though I say my ideal clients don't come from social media, it is still very worth it to keep an up-to-date, regular presence on all platforms. Do you have any platforms? I get overwhelmed by social media. Are there any platforms that are just like not worth our time? Like I stopped using TikTok because I learned that's probably not gonna bring me a lot of people. But now everybody's like, oh, you gotta do LinkedIn, and I'm already overwhelmed by Instagram, Facebook. So like, just from your opinion, like prioritize, what do we let go of? What do you think?
So you're a business to consumer business.
Yeah.
Yeah. LinkedIn's probably not your target unless you just like LinkedIn. David, on the other hand, he could get a lot of business from LinkedIn. But LinkedIn is a very specific approach that you take to be successful on LinkedIn. You connect with somebody, you send them a spam to their in-mail, and then they open that, and then they read that, and then they connect with you. And that's how LinkedIn works,
Hundreds of-
unless you
Oh,
pay
really?
money for it. Yeah. So for you, LinkedIn's probably not gonna be that great.
Yeah. How many, I delete hundreds of LinkedIn connections every day, well, 20 at least a day.
That's comforting.
How about you? What about for our financial services business?
So who are you serving?
Just everybody in this room. I mean,
Business
Small
owners?
business.
well, small
owner,
business,
primarily.
individuals, families.
So who's your ideal? Are they 20 starting out? Are they married? Are they single? Are they business owner?
They're-
Are they W
So
two?
our ideal is married, has a family, middle income. That's kind of three of our key ideal.
Kids.
Okay, so are they
business.
sales? Are they salesperson? Like, is that their job in sales?
No, I mean, it's, so we do insurance and retirement.
Right, but for their day job, are they a salesperson?
Probably not,
And are they a small business owner?
yeah.
Could be.
Okay, so the small business owner will be on LinkedIn. And someone that's looking to change jobs will be on LinkedIn, and salespeople will be on LinkedIn. So if your target is one of those three, then you could potentially use LinkedIn. But who you described is on Facebook all day, every day.
Well, that's what we're comfortable with, but
Yeah.
maybe we're missing those people that are on LinkedIn, it's always been who's over here on LinkedIn that I keep deleting.
Mhm.
Because I don't wanna do what you have to do to be on LinkedIn.
And that's the big question is, do we want to pay that price? And if you don't, then you find a who that wants to do that. And you,
To do my LinkedIn.
exactly, or you just let it sit and you say, we know that's a potential,
And let it sit.
but we have enough over here that we're not gonna focus on it because we don't wanna water down what we are doing.
So you said LinkedIn is sales, small business. And you said, and job seekers.
Job seekers, and then the last category is the executives. A lot of
Yeah.
executive level people will be on LinkedIn because they
Right.
make some.
Cause they're doing what we're doing.
Right.
Yeah. It does, it makes them feel more professional at being on having a Facebook presence,
Yep,
or
100%.
a Twitter, or X now, what is it, X?
Yeah, X.
Took me forever to figure out what that was when they changed the symbol, because I'm like, why do I have this weird icon that I need to get rid of it, like, it looks like it was like.
Trying to close.
It looks
Yeah,
like-
oh, that's-
It looks like when you wanted to put something there, but it didn't go there, and you have this little icon that shows that it didn't load properly. Finally I went, oh, that's where the little bird
It's
used to
not loading
be.
anymore.
Oh, I
So
got
we've
it.
got just a few minutes left. I'll throw one more tidbit at you and then leave you page 6 to do on your
Oh,
own.
Great.
The last tidbit is, if you want to prove that you have expertise, authority, and you're trustworthy,
Mhm.
and you have experience, you can start a blog. And the best way to do a blog is amazing. You go to Google and you pretend you're your ideal customer. And you type a question in that your ideal customer would ask you. How much money do I need to retire? What kind of rate of return should I get during retirement?
Mhm.
Is it safe to be in stocks during retirement? Those kinds of questions. You ask that to Google and then you scroll down until you find people also ask. And it will give you usually about 5 results. Those 5 results, Google is saying to you, hey, why have you never taken the time to write a blog article answering each one of these questions?
A separate blog article, you think, or?
One
Each
blog
one.
article per question. That's so you open up one of those.
AI.
100% you do. Yeah, 100%. So you open up one of those questions and 2 to 3 more will pop up. So
Yeah,
within
yeah,
5
I've seen
minutes,
that.
you'll have this many questions. And now you've done all your market research to know what to blog about. So,
Okay, so we're gonna ask Google something.
Yeah.
Really quick.
all right, who's got one?
I'm screen sharing.
How much money do I need to retire?
You're on the recording.
We will.
You can watch
We
it.
got
Tell me.
Fireside, they get to.
Okay, gosh.
Okay,
This is great.
so I'm on incognito, is that a problem?
Nope, you should
They
be
know
fine,
you
then you
anyway.
scroll down
Doesn't
and you'll
change
see people also ask. Keep going.
it. Creative searches.
There
People
it is.
are
And now
people-
click on one of those and then close it and 2 more questions should pop up. below
Okay,
it.
so how much should I save for retirement? And then do it again?
Just close that
Okay.
question after you open it and then click again and again and again, and it will usually start popping more questions out below that question for you.
Mhm.
It doesn't like you as much as it likes me.
What are the other questions?
Let me do it in not incognito.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that was cool, because that was even different questions.
Oh.
Yeah, does it say?
Can you
Yeah.
So what
retire
are-
1.5 million comfortably?
How much money? Oh, it just keeps popping up more.
Isn't that great? So now you've got how many blog articles that you could write?
Oh, it just keeps going.
What are they?
Some of those people also ask.
So it's,
things like,
can I
so-
retire at
Down arrow.
62 with
Down arrow.
400,000?
Yep. And
It's like
My
a
401k.
playlist. It's like the
It's
playlist.
200 a month enough to retire. It's 2,000 a month.
Okay.
Enough. How much do two people need to retire comfortably?
Okay, so
And then you can use AI and you say, write an SEO optimized blog article answering this question.
Using language from my website that you also wrote.
Yeah.
Remember what you did Monday? We do that.
Do that again in a blog article. From
that one more time.
ICT,
Sure.
right?
Write an SEO optimized blog article.
I wrote 4 blogs in a day, you guys.
Based on the brand voice found at this website. And then you'll put your website URL in there. And then you'll say, answering this question. Now, if you want to get really in depth, what you'll do is you'll take most of the information from this packet and put it in a Word document. And you'll say, here is information about my ideal client. Here's information about my brand. And you'll put all of that in as part of the prompt. So your prompt may be 700 words because you took all this
Right.
information that you gathered. And then it will write that article, but it'll do a far better job because it'll know that the core values that your company holds were such that you identified them. It'll know who your ideal client is, and it'll know all those different elements, so it can write a better article for you because you give it more information to work with.
I asked it to like ask me a list of 20 questions to help better understand my brand voice and idea of client. So that, and then it like it saves that information.
Yeah.
You had one more question. I have one more question. It's very entertaining then. From a health and wellness perspective, since a few of us here with those businesses, you say the word guarantee and my brain goes, nope, can't do that. I can't guarantee anything in health that is like a bad thing. X, don't do it. But then I'm
I
sitting here
guarantee
going,
an experience unlike any you've ever had before.
right, so like, can we guarantee things not in health, or if this will be, I guarantee this is not a 5-minute visit.
Yeah.
Like, I just, that's really, that's fine.
You can guarantee your organics, you can guarantee that that you are the source.
Yeah,
right?
yeah. So like, we could do more of like the experience versus the
100%.
outcome.
That's
right?
what your customer cares about, isn't it? The
Right.
experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Ooh, maybe I'm gonna work on my website tonight.
Chat, we're pulling all nighter.
And she'll know. And you know you need to go to sleep.
Your bedtime tonight now, what are you doing? It's 10 o'clock.
wow, okay, this is gonna be a repeat, isn't it?
This is
To watch
good. This
again.
is a lot.
This is so good.
Information.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for letting me come. This was fun.
Round of applause. By the way, Jason is in Boise are one of our community partners, so he's on board with that, and so we love having him. He built our website and continues to help us whenever we have tech issues. This guy doesn't have time for it. To help. So yeah, thank you so much. This is really big, and then as always, all our professional members can tap into our amazing fireside chats that we've had. We've had some pretty spectacular ones, but yeah, this has been great.
Thank
We
you.
might have to recruit you again.
I really
Yeah.
appreciate it. Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to think about and a lot of ways to then streamline what we thought about. Like you gave me things to tweak stuff and then also how to then implement, which is great. Sometimes I have the way to change my thinking or projects like that, but not how to really actually implement it all the way to where I can make the changes on my sites or make the changes in the language of my ideal customer. I can't tell how many times with the ideal customer thing, and that's challenging when you think I can help anybody. At least which most people do when they're in this industry, right? They wanna help everybody who wants their help, but there's so much value in, now it's almost like this clicked in another cog of why that's so important, why that conversation is so important. Not that I wouldn't work with somebody else who is somebody different, but it's all about marketing.
Love it.
Great. Really
Love
good-
it.
good stuff. Thank you.
Okay, we're gonna say goodbye to everybody that's watching. We'll stop the cord.